TNS Tuesday had Joe Crush calling out his brother Riddum and showing him how it's done with wall jumps in winners finals. I often find myself in awe of just how amazingly locked in and reactionary Joe is, and this tournament was no exception. He was 100% popping off, particularly with this heat burst into heat smash, bait Riddum with the taunt, wait for it, sniffs out the 10-hit combo, wham, duck while standing 1 punish. He finishes that game with movie magic and gets the 3-0 to make it to winners grands. Now that you know who's on winner's side of grands, let's talk about the legendary loser's run of a lifetime by Pastel Tommy. He is able to make almost all of King Ray Jr.'s Sashiro's whiff, then he uses the Sweata Sentai mix to great advantage after having Jr. show his Sabakis earlier in the set. The mixture of Pastel pressure and patience, along with the ironic stubbiness of Asuka's Demon Slayer, won him the game in timeout by literally 5 percentage points, so that he could face the next leg of the gauntlet in losers quarters, Shadow 20Z. Fresh off his 4th place finish at Emirates Showdown and a victory over the God Knee, but no one is immune to tenacious Tommy's keep-out electric timing. In Game 2, Shadow had Tommy at the wall on the heat engager, but the Heaven's Wrath parry got him out of trouble and into his own stance shimmies to mix the timing and take out the Liquid Leader 2-0 with the well-timed heat smash after Shadow's combo dropped. Then, believe it or not, Tommy was able to take out Cuddlecore's Ling Xiaoyu in losers semifinals. That left only Riddum standing in his way, where Pastel Tommy continued to show so much patience, confidence, and control, he looked like he deserves to be in top 2 of the most stacked bracket of the week. Clearly the other wins over Junior, Shadow, and Cuddle gave him the Pastel power up. Starting into Game 5, he gets a Pastel perfect to set the tone, and he even won the final game with a no-round brown after one of his well-timed hop kicks and standstorm blocks. And so it's come down to grand finals. Will Pastel Tommy take his first ever TNS victory, or will Joe Crush win his 9th and finally become the de facto champion of TNS? Well, unfortunately for our underdog hero, Joe was reacting to the first hits of strings whipping for gigantic damage punishes, mogging on his opponents with great impunity, and of course, planting the seeds of discord. That's a back-to-back TNS win from Joe, and he finally holds the record for the most Tekken Never Sleeps wins. In TSC's Grand Finals, we saw some of the wildest things the King and Fang matchup can give us with this long set between DrJakeman and Mac, like King's Heat Burst and Hop Knee whiffing on Fang with his low profile. Chief amongst all features of this set was the close range brawling, lateral movement, and above all else, Mac's master baiting and whiff punishment. Now to be sure, DrJakeman was slanging that thing, that's how the reset happened in the first place, but once Mac switched from the Dragunov to the Fang, a character who he had a lot of success with in Tekken 7, the baiting potential, the whiff punishment, the combos, the spacing, the pressure, it was, dare I say it, magnificent. Even through 120 milliseconds of California instant wall running giant swings, Mac was able to prevail and come out on top versus the 2nd place TWT point leader for North America and win the TheSweetsEvents Wednesday night bracket. Paragonline Thursday night started off with a surprising 2-0 by Gamin Anya's victor over Joe Crush. The spacing and EI stance mix-ups were hitting quite consistently, piercing the Gamma armor and interruption attempts of Joe. Gamin Anya was feeling themselves after that, so maybe we hit the teabag in celebration. After that, Joe had a long losers run ahead of him, and to be sure, there were no shutouts in these matches. Everybody made this god bleed, but between these two 15-second perfects we saw in the losers quarter set versus Dragunov 108, the wind-up count to 2 in that same set, and the unlimited magnificence of Joe's disregard for whatever you deem as solid play, he quickly made it through both Dragunov and Azure Bouquet to get the rematch versus Gamin Anya in losers finals. In that set, Gamin Anya got another quick 2 games up on Joe after their long-range whiff punishment and pot shots were able to put a pause on the Crushinator's reign of terror. By the way, if you're counting, that means Gamin Anya got 4 straight games on Joe Crush, but there's a reason we call him Joe Clutch. He consistently called out and anti-aired the Excalibur, option selected the EI stance with armor or rage art whenever possible, and we can't forget the heavy usage of the timing call-out while standing ones. It was a great run by Gamin Anya, but it's time for Grand Finals versus Pling. A terrible matchup for Jack, but Joe brought out his fishing gear to bait out some nasty whiff punish attempts for Pling. And man, that must be a $50 lure he bought. He had him that bait from King of the Hill, we just could not get enough of it. When Pling had Joe on the ropes, tournament point in hand, Joe turned on the pressure as only he can. I like to say that Nina is one of the hardest characters to deal with at the wall, but Joe Crush's Jack has to take the cake. I mean, look at this, what do you do? It's not just the immediate timing 50-50s, it's his ability to cause hesitation and execute timing reads with Seed Planner and Tie Open Blast in conjunction with the other impressive tools he has at the wall. And of course, when it was time to close it all out, he had to slide into home base with the most punishable move in the game, Jack's baseball slide. But hey, it's only death if they block it. Saturday, we had Tennessee Never Sleeps with Hendo and Nomar at the forefront of F2Con. It was ATL versus North Carolina, and we saw lots of the Hendo hands and Hendo hop kick, but Nomar had some great spacing traps and whiff punishment of his own to put himself on the podium. The set went 3-0 in favor of Hendo, but we'll see more of Nomar later. Who will attempt to rise up and challenge him in losers finals? Well, his ATLian kinsman JJBreeze, aka Luke Sidewalker, gave it a shot. Got sent down to losers by Nomar, then pummeled Tennessee natives Fusion with a barrage of 1-inch punches. But that was the end of the line for him, as Fusion peppered with lows and deftly countered the string mix-ups JJ was trying to impose. In the other half of losers, CensedSonic somehow survived the unlimited Dragon Wheel Kick onslaught of Ace Unlimited to come face to face with the Mouse of the South, Pokchop. He was playing drag, so you know he was going to go for that wall running too, but you know he always got that wall running mouth, and CensedSonic wasn't having none of that disrespect, especially when you have the power of Claudio's Sky/Nova at your disposal. He came back and won it, and you know he had to pop off for that slow-mo. God, this game is sick. When Fusion and CensedSonic met in loser semis, Sonic's realignment timing made it impossible to sidestep the Starburst Superman punch, but the defenses of Fusion were just too on point even in the face of mountains of chip damage and pushback pressure. It was looking good for the hometown homie, but literally round 1 of the losers finals match versus Nomar ended up in a 16-second perfect, and with Nomar's back 1-4 confirms and lockdown ability, he finished the set 3-1 after 6 rounds straight of bubbles on his side of the board. In grand finals, it's deja vu of winner's side, where we actually didn't see too much of the hop kick timing reads by Hendo, but we did see quite a few parries. In game 2, pressure was the name of the game as Hendo simultaneously leaves space without leaving space as Nomar's back to the glass on Elegant Palace. Also, I know you guys like those wild ass sidewall combos that seem like they're never gonna end, so I had to put this nugget in for you. With a little cherry on top too from this sidestep read after Nomar's spring kick retaliation. Did I mention that the parries were definitely a factor in this victory? Nomar even switched to the Yoshimitsu in Game 4, but in the end it was the same result as winners finals, another tournament victory for Two Ugly Esports' Sweet Engager.